Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Project Rides. I'm going to be discussing about the corner bouncing I did, corner bounce I did on my 2020 Civic Sport Hatchback manual. But first I'd like to say thank you very much for subscribing, liking, and viewing my Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram posts. It means very much to me. I hope you guys can subscribe for me. It will help very much and give me something to do for you guys and for myself to keep me going. It actually helps me focus and actually able to talk a lot easier than before. But first I'd like to say I wish I had the early 2000s again. Mostly because it was mostly my area of car scenes. From not really much to like the Fast and Furious, just for the cult culture JDM style itself. Especially for Sport Compact Car Magazine, Super Street, Turbo Magazine, and what else? There's probably a couple more I'm missing, but the one that got me really interested with mostly Hondas, and especially the blue color. I'm addicted to blue of everything mostly, and silver, but mostly blue. The reason which car got me started to liking mostly Hondas in blue color is the EG6. I had a 1993 Civic Hatchback DX, and the color stand out. Is if I actually say it right, the color code capital blue pearl. If I didn't, oh well, I tried. But that was a very interesting color for me, especially the author. I looked on who wrote the magazine article from Super Street and Sport Compact Car. It's basically one kind of company. I actually had to look it up online, and it shows it's in Super Street magazine website. If you want to look at it yourself, go ahead. It's Project EG6. The author is Jared Holstein. That car brought me into mostly in the Japanese aspect of the spoon look, but with blue car. Very interesting design, especially putting the B16, going by step from building the car ground up with Japanese parts, not just American parts it had then, but Japanese authentic parts, like the hood, the spoiler, a little bit of treatments on the body parts like the amber corners, and the engine itself is, I believe, what, if I can remember, is a B16A2. I might be mistaken, but it was very passionate car for me. That's why I actually got it, and I had an accident on that. It was kind of a rough one for me, but I miss it. But I wish I actually had an EG6 again. If I did, I would actually put a lot of heart to it and never do anything crazy with it. Just more drive it for shows and no go. And that's just because it's very rare car these days, especially in really good condition. The car was a very light chassis. It was like 2,100 pounds. DX model, 5-speed, basically roll down windows. No electric, no sunroof. That's why I like this car. I don't like sunroofs that much. It was not appealing to me. Plus, I got no hair now. But yeah, that's what kind of started me with these the car scenes for Japanese market though too. And especially with the magazines. I still actually have a lot of magazines back in the day. Let's see. This one's dated 2012, but the other car I actually have is this. The Hatchback introduced with themselves with this project from Sport Compact is the EP3. And I took a lot of eye in this. I like it. Brian did a pretty good job, and especially with the car scenes with this stuff. And especially I have the drag sport. Before it was DC Sport, if I said that right. I still have the magazines. Technically, I have a subscription of D Sport magazine. This is actually them back then. This was dated in 2003, and I still have it in July. And this on the title is Bizimoto with their CRX drag car with the F22. That's pretty baller. I respect a lot of the engineering process with the old cars back then. It might be very tough to do, and especially from today, it's making things a lot easier to design and engineer. And especially with the K series, it has a better package design now that can put a lot of power and RPMs to it. Yeah, so that's basically my intro about that, and let's get started with this corner bouncing video. I'm filling up this car and see what the full tank would be on the scales. Let's try it out. I only put like 3.5 gallons in. It's almost already full anyways. It's all the way there. Now I just need to set the trip. I'm ready to rock and go. Alright, I'm at the place. I'm gonna get scaled and see how this is. It's my buddy Andy's Acura TL supercharged, all-wheel drives, 6-speed. Come to join and see what the fun is about. The reason why I'm on the scale is to give a closer idea what the weight would be just for one person.
You ready for me to go down?
Yep.
And if you watch the tire, you'll see the tire will slide on the trash bag. Kind of like help push the weight out instead of binding up.
2910 compared to what I had at the truck stop, 2880.
Full tank, 30. Just by having the hatch open and closed, you shifted 5 pounds from the front to the back of the car.
So adjusting it by pushing it down a little bit, help it settle.
Right rear don't have enough weight. Why they do that? Alright, now this is what I'm curious. You got a good photo of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why I'm in the car is to test my weight with me in it, and plus with the guy that's helping me do the cross scaling.
You definitely want to add more weight to the right rear of the car, or you can bias it by having more driver weight, or less driver weight, but in that case you're still not even near. So what you could do here is lower the left front. It'll put more weight onto the right front and more weight onto the left rear, and then when you sit in the car, it should bring this percentage closer.
So would you say you need it close to a 50 across?
Yeah, you definitely want a cross weight of 50%, and then if we go into the partials, you get your actual left-right bias percentage.
Okay.
So you're talking that percent of a total of 2910, that's a good bit of difference. So 1% of 2910 is how much weight?
Alrighty. Now you see that it's basically I just need to tune a little bit if you want more flatness around the corners if you're actually using it for track. And most of you guys you'll probably be doing is putting coilovers on. It's really ideal to get it tuned like this, just in each corner. Make sure it's proper. If you don't, you could understeer, oversteer, or you're going to be going like crazy. Yep. The reason why there's plastic bags on the scale is to help the vehicle settle in one placement. After it's said and done, this is what the last result with nobody in it. Here we go. Here's the results. Do you guys want it? It's not much impressive. The reason why I actually did this corner balancing is see actually from factory. All I want to do is try to see the factory setup from corner balancing from one wheel to the other, to the rear, to the front. The whole nine works. See, it actually has for standard, and plus I use a truck stop weight system. So I'm not 100% sure it's a full accuracy on that scale. That's why I went to a corner balance though too, to get the proper weight and everything. You actually will see in the video me on one of the scales to measure my weight to understand and plus to show you how to properly set up the car and understand why you need to have yourself in the car while you're scaling it, because you're driving the car's not driving itself. So you're going to need to have yourself in the car and to fine tune it if you actually have coilovers set up. Coilovers is a very nice item to use for racing, drag racing, time attacks, rally racing. You have to have, if you're doing a rally racing, you're going to have your driver and your co-pilot. Your co-pilot, you both have to have both weight systems in it to understand the weight balance. For time attacks, you will need mostly just yourself in the driver's seat in the right position. If you mess with the position from the steering wheel angle, you need to keep that your seat position the same always. You can't just adjust. You could probably adjust it like a hair or so. It won't technically matter, but to understand the corner balancing scaling, you had to have the right weight in each corner. For instance, if you haven't seen the truck stop weight, the truck stop weight was not too bad compared to what I have from the corner balancing. The corner balancing is more 100% accurate compared to the truck stop, because you have different variations of how much the scale weighs from the weather surface, if there's water on the surface, if it's actually accurate. So the car actually weighs with a loss of 2.2 to 2.5 gallons loss, because I already driven so many miles already, about 45 to 50 miles already. So the car weighs 2880 from the scales from the truck stop. All right, I'll show this after I'm done with this presentation a little bit. All right, the corner balancing I got for the weight total of the car without me in it, and plus notice that the scale was very from 2 pounds difference, because we had to depress the suspension to make it settle on the scales properly. If you don't know, because suspension still has variations of weight on each corner, so you will need to press down the back side much as you could, not hard, just enough to give enough a shove in the ground to like open the hatch to see how much variation is going to be doing. Then you actually do from the front though too, so you have to do front and back to get the proper accuracy of settling the car down. You'll notice on the scales, Aaron prefer to have some plastic bags on the scales between the tire and the scale. It helps it to, when the car settles, it starts to shift like this. So it makes it help the car settle properly on the scales without having uneven weight transfer and proper alignment. It's like if you're a mechanic, you will know that putting a car on an alignment machine, the scale system, it's basically floating on ball's system. So every time you move the car back and forth, side to side, or do any adjustments for camber and caster, the plates will shift on from the wheels and everything. Alright, now the corner balancing total weight of this car is 2910. 2910 is pretty good weight for this vehicle, especially with how much body rigidity and strength of the chassis. Honda actually did a lot of good work on stiffening the chassis up much as they could, but keeping the suspension soft. The suspension from factory is very soft, front and rear. I believe the front, I actually have, it's 128 inch pounds. That means 128 inches, 1 pound. Yeah. And the rear was 158 pounds of spring rate in each corner. So right now the weight from the front, it shows it was at 59.33%. That's pretty decent. It's almost getting close to 50-50 weight distribution, but a lot better than the earlier gen Hondas. The earlier gen Hondas were about 60, 61, 62 range. It varies on the chassis design. And the rear will be 40.66%. It gives a weight difference. If you actually take your calculator now, plug in 2910 times 0.59.3, do it again. 2910 times 0.5933 equal, and you should get a total of 1726.503. That gives you a full sum of each corner. That's not variance of one side than the other. It's a full variance of just a static weight difference compared to a dynamic idea. And the rear is 1183.206 pounds for just the rear, not split each corner. If you actually want to do the splits each corner, I'll give you right here. The front, and that's not, it's static, so it's not a variation, but you'll see in the video soon that each corner has its own weight difference of how much from the engine sits, transmission sits, where your passenger seat is, your driver's seat is, and what's else in the back. Each front corner is 863.25 pounds. The rear each corner is 591.603 pounds. It's pretty decent. Now to me understanding my own suspension formula, I actually feel like I did pretty decent understanding by watching my 2012 Civic Si suspension travel while I'm moving and feeling the bumps. I will notice like a small noise for the tire hitting the fenders a little bit. So I'll measure that, how much travel that tire hits that fender corner, and it'll give me my sum though too. And plus, that's not just like a full accuracy, you got a lot of variations of weight transferring though too, of how much spring rate you're using. I gave my own little sum of what I can do to improve the suspension tuning and everything in my own way. There's different variations of engineering formula to simplify themselves, but you also have like the car itself has a different ability. when you actually corner bounce a car and actually using suspension formula to understand how much spring rate I need to have in each corner. For this book I have, it tells you to take your strut shocks off, weigh it. Take your lower control arm. If you have a higher upper control arm, weigh that too. If you have your knuckle, your spindle, your axle, your brake system, you have to weigh all that. Then add all those together in each corner. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. I gave it my own estimate of about 150 pounds. I'm not planning to tear apart my car because it's brand new and I don't really want to use it as a race car. If I did, I actually would have built one. Possibly I would like to make my own car sometime soon if I can get the money. But right now I'm just doing a basic static formula for myself to understand my own suspension tuning. And right now, by talking to Aaron from this video, he recommends Spoon Sport springs. It's just some idea what type of spring that he would think it'd be perfect for a setup for street ability and have some fun around the corners. And it's not made for like full track or anything like that. The springs basically, rolling springs is mostly a progress design. That means it has 2 stages of spring loads. You have to use some type of math formula on that, I know, but I had to look in my book. It actually tells you every parts and pieces by dividing on the whole 9 works for the stiffer spring with the softer spring, and you divide that number plus this, that, and all this stuff right now. But I'm not going to get into that, and just basically this is about just the car itself. So he recommends Spoon Sport rolling springs for a FK8. He thinks the fronts need to be a decent amount of weight, just as much as the rear. For him, he's been racing autocrossing for a long time, especially with his cars, and he understands a lot about racing because of the people he has to deal with to understand how to get this car set up properly for each car. That's why he has a corner balance system, and he actually has people that come to him get their cars tuned by him, and the customers love it. Had no issues, drives flawlessly of his knowledge and everything. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe and like my posts. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and here though too. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe it. It will help very much for me to get this Project Rides channel going, and it's going to need a lot of subscribers and a lot of views for this channel to be successful. It helps me get more content. It's hope to understand to see what you guys like, and especially what I like though too. I'm going to need a lot of subscribers, over 5,000 subscribers. Let's try to get at least about 1,000 subscribers within 1 month, then work from there. Gotta go, guys. Got animals going crazy. It won't leave me alone.